Okay, so starting the first phase of our nutrition when we're leading the substance abuser into the game of nutrition, the first thing we want to do is we want to teach them about protein. And the first and only thing the adjustment we want to make really is for them to add more protein into their diet, okay? Remember, we're working with a population who just got off heroin or just got done drinking or get off alcohol or pills or whatever, and they're already struggling, right? If we try to move too fast with the food, or we try to remove a bunch of food and put them in a calorie deficit or push them to do too much too early, we have come to find in the past 10 years that that's not a good move, right? They're already struggling psychologically. The reason we start with protein is protein doesn't promote an unhealthy psychological response. Okay, so if I'm saying, okay, what's your breakfast? And this is tied into our food log, right? That first week or 2 weeks, we're looking at their food log, and we're seeing most oftentimes everybody's food log is full of foods with no breaks. Okay, so foods with no breaks are carbohydrates, basically. They're basically foods that we can continue to eat without our body telling us that we're full. Okay? So chips, your Oreos, your crackers, ice cream, pop. I mean, basically everything that is good and feeds our taste buds with greatness, right? That is the foods with no breaks. And those foods, if you think about it, promote an unhealthy psychological response, right? Because they're really addictive foods. So if we say off the bat, okay, we want you to remove all these foods, right? They may need to lean on the cinnamon rolls. They may need to lean on some pizza in early recovery because now they're not doing heroin. I mean, we don't want to put too much pressure on them. The first thing we're going to do is protein, because it doesn't promote an unhealthy psychological response. So if they're going to have pizza, we say, okay, well, intentionally we're telling you to add protein into your diet. So what are you going to have with the pizza? Okay, and a lot of them will say, oh, I want to put more pepperoni. No, that's not intentionally enough. We want to say, okay, what about chicken wings? And now instead of having 5 pieces of pizza, we have 3 pieces of pizza and don't even know it because we're full from the chicken wings, right? For our breakfast, they might be having a bowl of cereal and a Rockstar. Well, we're saying, okay, with your bowl of cereal, let's try adding 3 or 4 eggs to your bowl of cereal. So we're not telling them to remove anything. We're telling them to add protein. And the difference with protein, again, is it's high in satiety, right? So satiety happens in your gut, and it sends a signal to your brain that I am full. So when we are eating a prime rib, about bite 8 or 9, we're usually, our body says we are getting full. Okay, but that's not the case with the Oreos, right? Oreos are foods with no breaks. They're low in satiety. They go into our gut. They don't send that signal to our brain because they lack in nutrients, right? But they taste so good and all these different things. And they promote that unhealthy psychological response. Protein is what we're starting with. It's simple. Protein is animal products. We often say in here anything with a face. That would include cheese and your dairy, right? They come from a cow, and it's pretty simple. We keep it simple with the client. Remember, we're not trying to lead them. Can't use all these scientific terms. We got to be as basic as possible. Phase 1 is to add more protein into their diet, which in turn helps repair muscle. It's high in satiety, so it makes them feel fuller, and it's a good way to start every client, every student, as we're moving them into nutrition. Once they show discipline and they can show that they've show discipline to adding protein in their diet, then we'll update their prescription.